Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners Board Meeting for Tuesday, February 16th, 2021, 2:02 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. Present is Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards, Commissioner Carolina Mejia, County Manager Miriam Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and assorted staff members related to particular agenda items. Upon the meeting to order, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Commissioner Edwards.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion regarding approval of today's agenda.
Yes, I would move to approve the Tuesday, February 16th, 2021 agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. I would entertain a motion regarding board meeting minutes from January 26th.
Yes, I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from January 26th, 2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Board meeting minutes are approved from January 26th. Item number 1 on the agenda is opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public at our 2 p.m. board meetings. There are some guidelines regarding the comments to make sure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that they are televised. The general speaking guidelines include introducing yourself, including the area of the county in which you reside, addressing the board, not staff or members of the audience. Please silence your cell phones. The board does not respond directly to public comment. On an as-needed basis, the county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 3 minutes and may not donate portions of their time to other speakers. The board reserves the right to restrict public comment for good cause. No comments that are lewd or offensive, inflammatory, defamatory, hateful, or discriminatory in nature, please be appropriate. No outbursts of any kind or comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. Remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could become before the board on appeal are not appropriate. And finally, all materials provided to the county may be considered public records subject to a public release upon request pursuant to the Public Records Act. We are open in the boardroom at limited capacity, and we do have at least one citizen in the boardroom. I'm going to begin there. It's John Pettit. And I'll ask the county manager to manage the time expiration for me. I cannot see the clock or hear it for that matter.
Yes, thank you. We'll manage the clock and we'll give Mr. Pettit heads up when the time is up.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live in East Olympia, Washington. I have two the first is a very brief comment about a particular item 6B on your agenda. I would like to see you delay that decision for another week. Commissioner Mejia brought out an interesting question, which of course, how many beds is this? And it appears it's for 2 beds for $32,000 for a year. But the additional question is are we using veteran relief funds, which are specific to individual veterans that qualify in a general social way of distribution? If it's not for a particular veteran that qualifies accordingly, it shouldn't be spent. I don't know how you come up with that number without some accounting involved. Okay, now to the part which I really wanted to share with you. Last week, you as commissioners proclaimed a climate crisis. Well, I could be controversial about question of climate crisis, or emergency or not, but I took a different direction. I went to PSC to see what's available right now. And right now, you can go to the PSC site and you can help mitigate the carbon impact and footprint that you make. Every household, every business in Thurston County uses PSC. This is not an advertisement for their services. You already use them. But what they have available is if you want to reduce your carbon footprint, if you looked at the first page, which I provided, you would see by me choosing to pay a little more money, requesting that my energy be brought from renewable sources, green power, and solar choices, that essentially I reduced my carbon footprint related to the electric by 128%, meaning not only did I reduce my level of carbon footprint, but I also reduced some which would compensate for some other people. $30 a month, and I reduced my carbon footprint by 32,317 pounds. Now, we can all do that. You as commissioners just all declared a climate emergency. You use Puget Sound Energy. Essentially, what it's going to take is some more investment and more money, and you can voluntarily, and I'll say lead the people of Thurston County through your own actions, and you can also make contributions towards the process. The additional forms I have there kind of breaks down some of the different program that the two different parts are, the solar choice and the green power choice. And of course, it shows my confirmation sheet. Makes me very happy. The only other thing is I'm encouraging you to look into other services to let's make the county buildings all meet that green standard too, if we can. There's a program on that batch of papers that you can use in order to contact someone in order to get them to help you get a plan that won't cost the taxpayers any money. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I had on my sheet.
Yeah, I don't think, I don't have anybody on the Zoom that I can recognize who would like to provide public testimony this afternoon. So let me check the conference call. Good afternoon. For those members of the public who have joined us via conference call this afternoon who would like to provide public testimony to the Board of County Commissioners, please unmute yourself, introduce your name, where you reside in the county. You have 3 minutes. None, sir.
Thank you. Let's go to item number 2, County Manager's Update.
Yes, I'd like to take a few minutes just to walk you through as to what the Thurston County, particularly Public Works and Emergency Services, have responded to the last snow event. Overall, Thurston County receives ranging from just about 15 inches to close to 19 inches in portions of the county. Response preparations began early in the week with the staff monitoring weather conditions, conducting planning meetings, and stockpiling materials. Public Works on Tuesday started to apply anti-icing material to help prevent ice from forming and reduce the snow ability to bond on the roadway, making it easier to remove. Road operations moved on a 24/7 coverage on Thursday morning. 2 12-hour shifts were established from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., each with a supervisor and 2 crew chiefs. Also, fleet services are moving to a 24-hour operations to support the response to Public Works. Friday, Public Works concentrated in removing snow and ice in all primary roadways, that will be major arterials, and some secondary collectors, routes, in applying anti-icing material in preparation for the second and larger snowstorm. Sure enough, on Saturday, due to the significant snowfall, Public Works continue efforts to replowing and de-icing primary routes. And at that point, based on the significant amount of snow, Public Works was not able to move into the secondary routes due to the volume of snow. By Sunday, all primary routes were plowed, removing any accumulations of snow from overnight, which was an additional inch. Ice and sludge was built on the roadways, and and those were clear on the primary routes. That allowed to move into the secondary routes. The night shift completed the secondary routes and moved into the residential areas by Sunday night. By 7 a.m. on Monday, the 12-hour shift were stopped, and the crews started addressing water and drainage issues as the snow melt. By the numbers, Public Works had 45 field staff, including 3 management staff and 3 administrative staff. They used approximately 1,650 hours over the last 4.5 days. They ended up plowing close to 18,000 lane miles. They used 46 tons of sand. They used 49,500 gallons of brine. We use 10 pieces of equipment that included 10 pieces of equipment with 10-yard plows, also 3 5-yard plows, 5-yard plows, and 2 pickup trucks that was outfitted for snow removal. We also use 3 road graders to remove significant amounts of snow on some of the roadways, and we outfitted some vehicles with 6 de-icers to continue to provide de-icing responsibilities. In terms of the communication, we were approached by Como TV, Caro TV, King 5, and Con, and all those were able to deliver information related to our snow removal activities. Also, we implemented our social media strategies to the point that their website included close to 5,600 hits related to storm-related information. On Twitter, we have 41,000 impressions, which is up 78% from the previous month in January. And also we have 66 new followers related to Public Works Twitter account. The county's Facebook had 18,000, almost 19,000 impressions. We have 6,600 post engagements, and we have 142 new page likes. So obviously this shows the level of commitment the Public Works staff did in terms of providing services to our citizens in Thurston County. As well, I'd like to extend my appreciation to all Public Works staff as well as emergency services, because it's a coordinating effort as well as facilities and the ER&R group to make this a reality. And I know that sometimes we are not able to get into the local roads until we treat the primary and secondary roads. And we wish we could have done everything all at once. But I believe the strategy that we have in place has been proven fruitful in dealing with potential, with this snow emergency. That's all I have for you.
Thank you, Ramiro. Any questions or comments about the county manager's report? Commissioner Mejia.
No questions or comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards.
I guess my only comment would be that I appreciate staff's long hours and commitment to getting us back moving around the county again. So please pass that on. Thank you.
I will, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. It seemed very smoothly done, and I appreciate that recitation of the work that was accomplished over the weekend. Thank you, Ramiro. Next item is a lengthy list of consent items, 3A through N. Is there a motion regarding those items or any request to pull an item? I would entertain it at this time.
Okay. These have been adequately discussed over the last few weeks, including this morning. And we're going to put these all in one action, I guess, with consent items A through N, and I would move to approve consent items A through N.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Items A through N in the consent section are approved. And that brings us to item 4, department items, central services, contract award for Thurston County Public Works closed landfill gas flare improvements. County manager will take the subject.
Thank you, Commissioner. You will hear from Chris Elmer, Capital Project Manager, related to for you considering awarding a contract for the landfill gas flare improvements. So you know the county has a closed landfill in the Hawks Prairie area, also known as the Waste and Recovery Center work. And as a result of having this closed landfill, we have the obligation to maintain it. I think we still have an obligation for another 15, 20 years to maintain that. In managing the methane generated by the closed landfill, it is essential. So in this particular items related to the gas flare that we utilize currently at the work. Chris?
Chris Helmer here, Capital Project Manager for the flare project. On January 19th of 2021, a total of 9 bids were received for construction of closed landfill gas flare improvements at the Waste and Recovery Center. Project number is 91075. These bids were received in response to the work advertised in the Olympian, Seattle Daily Journal of Commerce, and posted on Builders Exchange of the Washington website. The low bid was received from Stellar J Corporation with a bid of $547,856.40. The bid was determined to be responsive, and the firm has been determined to be responsible as well. Construction funds will come from Solid Waste Fund. This project will upgrade the existing flare system to operate within regulatory guidelines for management of closed landfill gas emissions. The scope of the construction project includes procurement of skid mount flares and general construction of landfill gas flare system improvements, salvage and disposal of replaced components, demolition and disposal of existing and replaced system components, minor earthwork, and fencing. The system will be commissioned and tied into the supervisory control and data acquisition system for monitoring and data analysis. Project is in the 2021 Public Works budget. Capital facilities plan and also is in alignment with the county strategic plan initiative number 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community, and initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization. Do you want me to continue with the recommended action?
No, unless the board has any questions for you.
Questions or comments for Chris from the board?
Yes, I have a question. In regards to timing, when would the project start? When would it end? What's the timeline of this?
After the board approves the award of the contract, I intend to start the process for notice to proceed, and the project will take 240 days to end approximately October 15th of this year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Edwards, anything?
Yes, sir. I'd just like to point out that for at least more than 2 years, this has been quite a topic of discussion in front of the Board of County Commissioners and in the SWAC committee as well. And to include the possibility of seeing if we couldn't figure out a way to utilize this gas in some form of electrical production. But it ended up that it was not feasible to make that happen because of the low quality of gas emitted from the landfill. Anyway, so I can just for the public, I want to assure them this has really been discussed a bunch over the last more than 2 years to try and find different ways to handle this. And now it's come down to spending the money to make it happen. So just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I would move to award the contract for closed landfill gas flare improvements. That would be permit 91075 to Stellar J Corporation of Woodland, Washington for a total amount of $547,856.40. $1,856.40 to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 10% of the contract price.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Mhm.
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Chris. Item 5 today is community planning and economic development. There are 3 items. The first one, the 3 items are setting public hearing. First one is to set a public hearing for development code docket CR4, commercial smokehouses.
Yeah, Commissioner, you have 3 items for your consideration today related to the development code docket the board approved last year. And the 3 elements is allow for commercial smokehouse in certain areas of the county. The second is allowing permitted child care centers in some areas of the county, and also allowed resorts and retreats more than 100 acres also used. So Andrew Bond is here to walk you through the details of those items. And again, for your considerations to set 3 separate public hearings for each of those items.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Andrew Bond, Associate Planner with Community Planning. Development Code Docket Item CR4 is a citizen request to allow commercial smokehouses in rural Thurston County. The Commercial Smokehouse Code Amendment has been docketed since 2019 and on the official Development Code docket for that was established in April 2020. The proposal would amend Title 20 of Thurston County Code to incorporate new standards for commercial smokehouses in unincorporated Thurston County. The proposal would also include a new definition for commercial smokehouses in 20.03 of Thurston County Code. Thurston County Community Planning held 2 work sessions with the Planning Commission on September 16th, 2020 and October 7th, 2020. A public hearing with the Planning Commission was held on November 4th. A STIPA determination of non-significance was issued on January 11th, 2021. And finally, a work session with the Board of County Commissioners was held on January 20th, 2021, where the board directed staff to submit an AIS to request a public hearing. Thank you.
Questions from the board regarding commercial smokehouse setting a public hearing? Commissioner Mejia?
No questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
I would just comment that this has been also in the works for several years and discussed quite a few times. So we did it again this morning, and I'm prepared to make a motion, sir.
Okay, I would just repeat what Andrew said, which is that January 20th was the date that there was a publicly televised work session of the board and the details were presented. And so the public can go back and find that meeting if they're interested in the specifics. I'm ready to hear a motion.
Yes, I would move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 at 3 p.m. or soon thereafter at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to accept public testimony on Development Code Docket CR4, commercial smokehouses.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We have a public hearing for March 16th on commercial smokehouses. Let's move to item 5B, which is also involves Andrew, and setting a hearing on docket A20, permitted child care centers.
Andrew Bond with Community Planning again. Development Code Docket Item A20, permitted child care centers, has been docketed since 2016. This is the second priority project out of 15 on the Development Code docket. The proposal would amend Title 20 of Thurston County Code to expand access for daycare facilities and simplify existing regulations in the unincorporated Thurston County. The Community Planning held 2 work sessions with the Planning Commission on September 16th and October 7th. A public hearing with the Planning Commission was held on November 4th. A SEPA determination of non-significance was issued on January 11th, 2021. And finally, a work session was held with the Board of County Commissioners on January 20th, 2021, where the board directed staff to submit an AIS on this request. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions from the board?
No questions.
Yes, I have one question of Andrew. I didn't hear that maybe right. Did you say that that was first put on the docket in 2016?
It was officially docketed in 2016, but there is some where the application was submitted back in 2010, and then it was pulled, and then it came back. It's been kind of coming in and out for the last 10 years, but officially been docketed on this cycle, from my knowledge, in 2016.
Okay. I do think, though, that that's a good example of how long government takes to get something done for the citizens. So maybe brought to our attention 10 years ago, and childcare is a big issue to a lot of working families. And I think we recognized this and moved forward on it. But I have to say, it's unfortunate that oftentimes government just can't get it done very fast. And I actually apologize to those parents out there that suffered through that whole 10-year period and didn't get adequate response from their government, but we've got a staff that took it on and got it done. Thank you, Andrew. And I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I would move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 at 3 p.m. or soon thereafter at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to accept public testimony on Development Code Docket A20, permitted child care centers.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And we'll move to item 5C, a similar item to set a hearing on March 16th at the same time regarding Development Code Docket CR1, Resorts and Retreats.
Andrew Bond again with Community Planning. Development Code Docket CR1 is a citizen request to allow resorts and retreats over 100 acres in rural Thurston County. The Resorts and Retreat Code Amendment has been docketed since 2015 and has been included as a priority project on the citizen-initiated Development Code Docket. The proposal would amend Title 20 of Thurston County Code to create 2 subsections and incorporate new standards for resorts and retreats over 100 acres in unincorporated Thurston County. The Thurston County Community Planning held 2 work sessions with the Planning Commission on September 16th and October 7th. A public hearing with the Planning Commission was held on November 4th, with a follow-up work session held on November 18th. A SEPA determination of non-significance was issued on January 11th. And finally, a work session was held with the Board of County Commissioners on January 20th, 2021, where the board directed staff to submit an AIS to request a public hearing. Thank you.
Any questions on this one from the board?
No questions.
No, sir.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion.
I would move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, March 16th, 2021 at 3 p.m. or soon thereafter at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to accept public testimony on Development Code Docket number CR1, resorts and retreats, more than 100 acres.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. And we have our public hearings for March 16th. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Okay, next is item 6 on today's agenda. 6A is a contract with Community Action Council of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties for rent and utility assistance. And I understand that we have a corrected version of the motion. I'm assuming that Vice Chair Edwards has that in hand.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. My apologies. That's an issue with the system. The motion is what you did this morning,
I'm not hearing you again.
which includes the treasury rental assistance.
Amira, are you speaking? I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Yep, there you go.
Okay, sorry. First of all, please accept my apologies. We had some issues with the system. They didn't update this agenda item, but in fact, this morning, you reviewed this agenda item that included two elements, the Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program, as well as the Commerce Rental Assistance Program. And so the motion had an old information, so the motion that was submitted in the system is the right one that I just handed over to you. And again, my apologies. Tom, would you like to frame that?
Sure. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tom Webster with Public Health and Social Services. So here to ask for your approval for a contract and contract amendments with Community Action Council of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties. The counties received a substantial amount of rental assistance dollars through the Department of Treasury, federal dollars, and also directly from the Department of Commerce through their eviction rent assistance program. In the fall of 2020, we contracted with CAC for rent assistance dollars under the Commerce Eviction Rent Assistance Program, what was known as ERAP. So we received additional funding for Commerce under this program for $1,436,879, and we'd like to amend that contract for that amount of money so they continue to provide rent assistance. And those funds go until the end of June of this year. Also, we've received from the Department of Treasury under the latest stimulus package approved by Congress, an award of $8,759,391.90 for additional rent assistance dollars. And we'd like to contract with CAC for these funds as well. The amount of that contract will be $8,609,392. The difference being what the county will hold on to for our administration and for marketing and outreach for this program. Those funds will need to be spent in this year with some preliminary deadlines of September, but with an ultimate deadline of December 31st when those funds need to be spent. And with that, all these funds will be used for Thurston County residents. Community Action Council is the agency that's been working on this, and there's lots of federal rules that come with this money, and so working with Community Action Council to avoid duplication of benefits and to ensure that residents who apply for them meet the eligibility requirements for the fund that is available to them will be important. Community Action Council will also be working with other partners in the community to market this program and to connect residents with these services. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Tom, Commissioner Mejia?
I don't have questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
Tom, could you clarify how a landlord might apply for these if the renter does not?
Yes, we're working on those details with Community Action Council now, but landlords are able to contact Community Action Council and apply for these funds directly. There are some specific rules. The Department of Treasury has issued the money. We are still waiting for final guidance from the Department of Treasury on all the rules around this money, and access to landlords is one of those rules. We're waiting for greater clarification. However, landlords, once this program is up and running, will be able to contact CAC directly to apply on behalf of their tenants to see if they're eligible to receive this funding.
Okay, thank you very much. And I would just, well, I'll wait. I don't know if the chair's got any comments or not.
Commissioner Mejia, I saw her hand up.
Yes, just a question that popped in.
Go ahead and we'll circle back around.
Thank you, I appreciate it. When will this become available for people to start applying, Tom?
So for the commerce money, because we have an existing contract and CAC has been working, as soon as we're able to sign this amendment, I hope that these funds will be available very quickly within the next week or so, before the end of March. The Treasury dollars, I hope that we will have additional guidance from Treasury here very soon, and I hope that those funds will be available on or about March 1st or maybe slightly thereafter. But the first pot, the 1.4 million, should be available hopefully by next week.
Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards, you have something?
This maybe is a process question, maybe for the county manager. I've got a adjusted action here that I'm going to make here in just a minute. But because our printed material is different than this adjusted action I'm going to make, is there any special motion or move I need to make?
No, we will update the agenda to reflect the action that you're going to be taking.
Okay. So the new action that I've just received, and Chair, did you have anything more?
Just to say that, on that point, it seems to me that the adjusted motion is the motion we discussed this morning.
That is correct, sir.
So it was there this morning, and I just wanted to point that out. And then as to Commissioner Edwards' point about the landlord access, that is something that wasn't true of the 2020 program. Am I right about that? That this is kind of a new element?
That is correct. This is a new element that previously landlords were not able to apply. And with the Treasury money, landlords are able to access the Treasury money. So there's some slightly different rules between the two programs. But for the Treasury Emergency Rental Assistance Program, landlords may apply directly for those funds.
Okay, yeah, that's something new. I just wanted to highlight that, and I'm glad Commissioner Edwards did that as well. And then the county had, and as folks, if they're tracking this, we committed some bridge money between the end of our previous state program and the beginning of this new federal state program. And so there should be a smooth, and that's all being administered by Community Action Council. So we hopefully will have a smooth process, and I appreciate all that background, Tom. I am ready for a motion then, as adjusted here.
Okay. I would move to approve contracts and contract amendments with Community Action Council of Lewis, Mason, and Thurston counties to implement rent and utility assistance programs in Thurston County, funded by the U.S. Department of Treasury Emergency Rent Assistance Program for $8,609,392. And the Washington State Department of Commerce Eviction Rent Assistance Program for $1,436,879, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contracts and any amendments that do not change the amount or duration by more than 20%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on this item?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. That brings us to item 6B, also under Public Health and Social Services. This is contract with Catholic Community Services Southwest regarding emergency shelter services for veterans.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. Mark Muffins will walk you through the details of this particular item. And for your considerations to extend the contract that we have with Catholic Community Services of Southwest from the period of January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021 to provide homeless veterans with shelter capacity. Mark.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mark Moffat, Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. We're requesting your approval of this contract with Catholic Community Services to provide indigent veterans and their families shelter beds at Catholic Community Services in Drexel House. I would like to premise this conversation with the RCW that regulates this. So it's RCW 73.08.010, County Veterans Assistance Program for Indigent Veterans and Families. In that RCW, it states the legislative authority of each county shall establish a veterans assistance program to address the needs of local indigent veterans and their families. The county legislative authority shall consult with and solicit recommendations from the Veterans Advisory Board established under RCW 73.08.035 to determine the appropriate services needed for local indigent veterans. And what's important about that is that each year I put the 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 shelter contract in front of the advisory board for their recommendation to come forward before it comes to you. And each year, the advisory board has determined that it's best for our local homeless veterans to continue these contracts. What this contract does, a change from last year. Last year we reserved 3 beds each night for veterans at Catholic Community Services. This year we went down to 2, mainly because of COVID situation and physical distancing. So this is a drop in overall amount by about $11,000 to $12,000. The same price per bed that Catholic Community Services has charged us for the last 3 years now. And so just to give you some perspective, in 2020, Catholic Community Services provided 268 bed nights for veterans, whereas in 2019 it was 964. So a huge decrease, and they attributed that to COVID, and they don't see any relief anytime soon. So that's why they decreased the number of bed nights.
Thank you, Mark. Questions from board members regarding this item? Commissioner Hill.
No questions.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, I do. I have a couple questions here. This was most recently bid on last year, I suppose, for this year. Is that what you said this morning?
Yes, sir. Last year about this time. So we're going through the same process for 2022 now.
And this was the only bid that we received on this one?
That's correct.
And are there codes that we're following in the county code that is addressing some of this as well under our own county code?
So not under county code, we do have Veterans Assistance Fund policy. And every year or 2, I bring it in front of the board to make some changes, to bring more services to veterans in our county, to ensure that we're meeting the intent of the advisory board. So the last time I brought this before, it was earlier or later last year, I brought this to the board to make some changes due to the emergency situation with the current pandemic.
Are you aware of any requirement that requires us to keep track of individuals that receive funding, and then individuals are only allowed a certain amount of funding per year? Is that the way we do that?
Yes, sir. Based on the policy that we have, it's not within the RCW. It's up to each county to determine what that limit and that threshold is. And so currently it's for a family, it's up to $2,000 in a year's time, and they can come back to the fund twice in their life currently. That hasn't always been that way, but based on the current recommendations from the advisory board, they've limited it to twice in the veteran's lifetime.
And then as we give relief to an individual or a family, do we keep a record of that so that we're aware who's coming back and who's not and such?
Yeah, yes, we do, Commissioner. We do that both with the Veterans Assistance Fund and also with the shelter. So the shelter, when they bill each quarter, they have to submit the documentation that the people coming into the shelter that they're billing for met the requirements of our policy.
As we provide shelter for veterans, and like you said, it went from, what, 964 or something down to 268. But as we're
Correct.
Providing that, are those beds always full during maybe inclement weather, but maybe not so much in the summer, or how does that work?
They're not always full, Commissioner. It ebbs and flows depending on if there's a veteran that's available. They don't turn away people. There are some people that don't meet the RCW definition of a veteran, so I can't allow them to charge for those particular folks. So sometimes they're full. Sometimes they do even more than 2 beds a night at Catholic Community Services.
Okay, is there a time element on this contract at all that you're aware of? I mean, are we up against a time frame that you're aware of?
We're not up against the time frame, sir. No.
Okay. So this is just boiling down to, we're doing business and trying to follow the rules as best we can, sounds like.
Yes, sir. We're following the RCWs and our current policies as they're written for the Veterans Assistance Fund.
And I have to say, I'm an advocate for veterans, so please, that's why I'm asking these questions, because I am an advocate for veterans, and it does sound like you've got this pretty well done, but maybe we can have a one-on-one at a later date, but I'm ready to move forward with this, sir. Oh, we got the county manager up here.
Thank you. Go ahead, County Manager.
Just a follow-up, and I know over the last few months there have been a lot of questions and perhaps seeking information related to the Veterans Fund. And I don't know if you may recall, not necessarily Commissioner Mejia, that I committed a few months ago, maybe 4 months ago, to conduct an internal audit of the Veterans Fund, and those are the activities that we do just to make sure that everything is aligned, all the activities with the state and local laws. So that report is nearly finalized. So when that is completed, I will share that with the board, and I think that is a good approach as to how we move forward and making sure that we cross all the T's and dot all the I's.
And
Hopefully that report will be, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Hopefully that report will be available in the next month or so.
Yeah, and actually, I was eavesdropping when I heard you telling a citizen that before we started our meeting. So
yeah, so that's what I want to make sure they
prompted some of this, and I want to thank you for being responsive, and that's what I was trying to do, was be responsive as well. So thank you, Mark, for what you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I don't think I have anything. Thank you, Ramiro, for reminding us of that and giving us a status report on that internal audit. I do recall that, but I'd forgotten, so I appreciate the reminder. Is there a motion on this item from the board?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve the contract with Catholic Community Services Southwest in the amount of $32,850 for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, to provide shelter services, including shelter stays for homeless veterans and their families at the Dexter House Emergency Shelter, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the contract and amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, and that contract is approved unanimously. Brings us, thank you, Mike. That brings us to item 6C, Public Health and Social Services, Thurston County Criminal Justice Treatment Account Plan. And there are two items somewhat connected. Carrie Hennon, Program Manager, is here to review those with us. And Ramiro, set this up for us.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. This item is related to a grant that we received from the state, and that is called the Criminal Justice Treatment Account, CJTA. And the amount varies year by year, but this just about $370,000. One of the requirements of this particular grant is it needs to be decided how it's going to be spent based on the discussions by an expert members of a panel. It calls the Criminal Justice Treatment Account Panel. So those recommendations are coming before you, and Carrie is going to walk you through in detail the 8 recommendations this panel has agreed on, and also if you can detail who are the members of this panel, that will also be helpful, Carrie. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Carrie Hennon, Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. Again, 2 items related to the Criminal Justice Treatment Account. So this is state funding, and per RCW, this is specifically earmarked for individuals with a substance use disorder and criminal charges in our county. And as Ramiro said, the statute lays out that each jurisdiction has a local criminal justice treatment account panel that is comprised of the sheriff's office, the prosecuting attorney, public defense, superior court, drug court, a substance use disorder treatment provider. And that group develops the local plan for how to spend those funds, and then we bring it to you, which is what I'm doing today. So the plan before you has, as the county manager mentioned, 8 uses of the fund locally. This includes substance use disorder evaluations when requested by a defense attorney, treatment and related services for participants in drug court, parenting classes for eligible individuals, treatment and related services for participants who are CJTA eligible, meaning they have a substance use disorder in our mental health and veterans court, medication assisted treatment in the jail, housing case management for eligible individuals, domestic violence treatment for eligible individuals, and treatment and related supports for pretrial services participants. So that's what's in the plan. As I've mentioned, we're required by the state to update this plan periodically. We've been updating it more frequently than we are required to, because I'm sort of an ongoing effort to make sure we are maximizing our use of these funds. So you did approve a plan revision back in August, and this is a revised version of that plan, adding some additional uses of these funds.
Thank you, Carrie. Any questions from the board? Here.
No questions for me.
I do have just a question maybe to do with a process more than anything else. For the public, so they'd be aware of what kind of money we're spending in those kind of programs. We had talked about putting in the dollar amount, which I believe was $371,000. Is that right?
Yeah, it is included in your motion.
Mm-hmm.
It's in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
As well as you requested to add as a recommendation by the Criminal Justice Treatment Account Panel, which has been added.
You know, I think I ended up with a, give me just a second here. And I am prepared to make a motion, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
I'd like to move to approve the updated Thurston County Criminal Justice Treatment Account Plan, allocating $371,177 from the Healthcare Authority to provide subsistence use, disorder treatment, and recovery support services for individuals involved in the criminal justice system, as recommended by the Criminal Justice Treatment Account Plan Committee.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia, is that an aye?
Yeah,
Yes, that was an aye.
Sometimes I don't catch it if there's simultaneous. Okay, great. That motion passes 3-0, and we'll move to 6B. Interlocal agreement with Thurston Mason, BHASO, or Criminal Justice Treatment Account Funds.
Yeah, this particular item for you is to get into a new local agreement with the Thurston Mesa Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization to deliver portions of the plan that you just approved. So, Carrie?
Correct. So as I mentioned, there's a number of different uses that were recommended by the CJTA panel. One of those uses, housing case management, is what we are presenting this interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason BHASO for today. So it's up to $70,000 between now and the end of the contract period, which is June 30th, to provide housing case management and rental assistance to CJTA eligible individuals.
Okay. Questions from Commissioner Mejia?
No, sir.
Commissioner Atwood?
No, sir.
Carrie, you say housing case management through BH. ASO. Is that, so obviously that's folks getting out of jail that are connecting up to needing housing assistance and.
Yeah, so again, to be eligible, they must have a substance use disorder and be criminal justice involved. And so could be individuals leaving the jail, could be drug court participants. Many drug court participants have been involved in this program in the past. And this housing case management program assigns a case manager to help them find housing. Often, though not always, this program utilizes recovery housing, so clean and sober houses that are kind of community environments for individuals who are trying to progress in their recovery. That's not the only use, but that is the predominant place in which individuals participating in this program end up residing.
Is the case management actual staffing part of the BHASO, or are they contracting with another group to provide that directly?
So they contract that out to Northwest Resources, one of their treatment provider partners. And the funds in this particular interlocal agreement will solely go to rental assistance. They won't pay for the actual case management. The case management is kind of already paid for through another fund source, the treatment sales tax. So this will just stretch the ability of existing case managers to serve more people, provide more rental assistance, serve people for longer when necessary.
Thank you, Carrie. Is there a motion on this?
Yes, sir. I would move to approve an interlocal agreement with the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative Services Organization for a total of $70,000 in criminal justice treatment account funds for the period of February 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2021, and authorize the Director of Public Health and Social Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
I second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 7 today is under Public Works. 7A, Board Write-Off of 2020 Uncollectible Public Works Department Accounts Receivable. Karen Reese is here from Public Works.
Yeah, just framing the conversation, Commissioner, thank you. As a way of the county conducting business and providing services to our citizens, we charge fees, fee for service. In many aspects of our business, there are some accounts that are become uncollectible. They don't have we don't have the means to collect those accounts, and as a result, you need to retire that as a bad debt. In the past few years, the board has experienced this, and systematically, the board has provided direction that we need to bring those uncollectible accounts on the small pieces and the small amounts to avoid having to take a larger impact in terms of impact to either the general fund or any particular fund that is those accounts are relating to. And in fact, a couple of weeks ago, you passed an action retiring some uncollectible accounts related to property taxes. So this is a larger context, is a larger strategy the county has implemented just to make sure that we retire those delinquent accounts on a timely manner. So in this case, it's related to Public Works, solid waste, and Karen Weiss is going to walk you through the details of this.
Thank you, Romero. Karen Weiss, Thurston County Public Works Financial and Asset Management Division. So Public Works is requesting the Board of Commissioners authorize the removal of solid waste utilities accounts receivable deemed uncollectible in the amount of $2,832.56 from our 2020 financial records to more properly reflect our anticipated revenues. As Ramiro stated, this is an annual process. It's in compliance with Thurston County Policy and Procedure 3055, which is the write-off of uncollectible accounts receivable. And in compliance with this, we have submitted a list of the accounts for write-off. We do have a continuous effort that we do take to collect unlisted accounts. They have gone to a collection agency, and these have been determined as uncollectible or have a very low likelihood of recovery, and that's primarily due to the statute of limitations that it's expired. All of these accounts are 6 years or older. Public Works does have a comprehensive delinquent account process, and through our consistent and timely action, we have reduced our financial exposure from uncollectible accounts significantly. And in fact, this amount, $2,832, represents a very small fraction, 0.1% of our total solid waste utility financial receipts for 2020. And also for 2020, there are no water and sewer uncollectible accounts receivable being requested to write off. So, thank you.
You're only collecting 99.9%, Karen? Come on.
We chase them down. Good procedures, good policies in place.
That is a success story, for sure.
Question or comment for Karen, Commissioner Hughes?
No questions, but yeah, this is pretty incredible that this is what, with just the amount. So just great job on this.
Yeah, I think I want to reiterate that same thing. It's probably 99.999%, I think, if you really pencil it out, when you bring in 27 million and you missed, 28. And then what, you tried 6 years to get that, so that's pretty dedicated, Karen. So thank you to you and your staff for doing that. And I'm prepared for a motion.
I'm afraid my old law firm's going to snatch Karen up and hire her. If we got anywhere in that stratosphere of collection, we'd be
not just me. It's the team and the processes that we have in place here at the county, for sure.
Very good. I'm ready for the motion.
I would move to authorize the Public Works Department to write off uncollectible solid waste utilities accounts receivable in the amount of $2,832.56.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 None opposed, so that passes unanimously. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you very much.
Good work to your team. That brings us to item 8. 8A is commissioners reporting on board work sessions, assigned committee meetings, or any community events they'd like to report on. So I'll start with Commissioner Hughes.
Yes, so I've been volunteering myself as backups for several things. I need to be more mindful, but I'm trying to learn. One of them is for intercity transit. I am the backup for Council Member Carolyn Cox for the Thurston Regional Planning Council. So I will let Ramiro know if there are any times that I have to go that Commissioner Menzer or Commissioner Edwards will be attending. That way it gets on the master calendar. Other than that, the RFP for the Regional Housing Council will be discussed this Thursday. So that's when our Regional Housing Council meeting is. And another thing that's being discussed is a possible time change for that meeting. That way it does not coincide with the Law and Justice Council. But other than that, that's all I have to report for committees. Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards, anything?
I guess I'd follow up on one thing that we did jointly, the three commissioners. We did an interview with TC Media on, I think it was Thursday. So anybody that's interested and can want to see how we're working together and what we're doing and what our priorities are, I think that's going to be available this Friday on Thurston County YouTube.
Yep, It was a meet and greet, the commissioners, particularly with the new commissioner, Commissioner Mejia, just to make sure that no business were discussed at that meeting. It was just meet and greet the new commissioners.
No business. Anyway, I think the main activity that I was involved in during the course of the prior week is, I don't know if I want to say aggravated, concerned citizens over topics such as the whole COVID thing with vaccines and where can we get it, when can we get it, and school reopenings and other types of treatment. I mean, there's just always a lot of concern coming in by folks, and that's going to be, that consumed most of my week, those type of ongoing topics, either personal calls or contacts. So I'll just let it go at that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I had a few of those type of communications as well. I had meetings related to climate planning for the upcoming steering committee for implementation. Will begin next week, and so there's some preliminary discussions going on about how we'll go about putting all that together. Took a tour of the Superior Court space that we have and District Court space over at Chandler Court. I'd seen it during construction, but I hadn't seen the finished product, and just because jury trials hadn't commenced yet, we've been pausing our trials, but they're due to restart in March. So I wanted to make sure that that space was looked good and appropriate for what we were planning there. And it did look good to me. The court administrators were kind enough to spend some time with me over there. Spent some time with representatives of the Squaxin Island tribe regarding the Deschutes watershed plan and just some ideas for how we might improve that plan that hopefully we'll be able to discuss in the next month. And I wanted to let the citizens know that the LOT, Clean Water Alliance, our wastewater treatment system, has some really cool new videos. They took the pandemic, some of the education activities that weren't able to go forward during the pandemic, like at their wet center and stuff. They were able to use that time and resources to create some videos that show the tour and the activities and the wastewater treatment process. They're really cool. If you don't know what happens when you flush the toilet and where the water goes and how it gets handled, they're great for kids. They're great for teenagers. They're great for adults. They're great for elected officials, frankly. So I would encourage anyone to take a look at them. There's a 15-minute version, and then there's some smaller versions on smaller topics. But you can take a look at that at the LOT website. So I'll leave it with that. And then we'll go to 8B, which is the county manager reviewing our combined schedule for the upcoming week.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let me walk you through your combined schedule for the upcoming week. Is where at least 2 commissioners will be present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. Tomorrow, Wednesday, February 17th, lo and behold, as soon as the budget was approved by the board in December of 2020, you will begin the conversations on your budget for 2022. But it's an annual or biennial budget. So tomorrow you have the first briefing related to the budget for the upcoming year at 9 o'clock. At noon tomorrow, February 17th, you have your regular meeting with your elected officials here in the county. It's an open forum and an agenda has been posted. At 1 in the afternoon, tomorrow, the 17th of February, you have a briefing related to the water resources inventory areas, water plants, and the stream flows. At 2 in the afternoon, you have a briefing related to the Mazama Pocket Golfer annual review, and that is related to the interim process that we currently have in place. At 3 in the afternoon, you have a briefing with the county auditor related to potential changes to the precinct boundaries. Thursday, February 18th, at 9 in the morning, you have the first meeting on your official docket, and that will begin the conversation related to the upcoming docket decisions. 11 in the morning, February 18th, you have an executive session related to a current tort claim against the county. At 1 in the afternoon, Commissioner Menser, Commissioner Edwards will be attending the Thurston Mason Behavioral Care Administrative Services Organization Governing Board meeting. I stayed up with no help. And on Friday, January 19th, you will be attending the study meeting. That's the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative from 8 to 9:30. And at 10:30, you have a briefing related to the Treatment Sales Tax Advisory Committee. That will be a meet and greet. Moving on to next week, Monday, February the 22nd at noon, you have been invited to participate on the Homeless Housing Annual Awards. And I hope you make the time to attend. I believe Commissioner Menser, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, will be saying a few words. And then you will convene again here on Tuesday, February 23rd, on your agenda setting to review the next week's agenda as well as the following board's agenda meeting. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramiro. And if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I will adjourn. Is there anything else from commissioners?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.